welcome. You are watching Business Today TV. This is Market Today. I'm Sakshi Batra and with me is Shail Bhatnagar. Remember, the domestic markets have witnessed a significant rally at the end of the last week and at the beginning of a new week and a new series. The benchmarks logged their best single-day gain in 2 months. Now, the big question is whether this momentum will continue. We'll track all the important cues for you, but first up, the top headlines this hour. Indian stocks are likely to rise further on Monday as pent-up demand for beaten-down blue chips and the ongoing rally in PSUs improves overall sentiment on the Lal Street. September is likely to be the month for public sector stocks as bulls are on a full rampage when it comes to buying railways, energy, banks and the defence plays. Good morning, viewers, and very good morning to you, Shail. Well, we've had a fantastic start to the September series. For Friday, we saw the Nifty closing, only in the second instance since August 16 when it managed to sustain above the 19,400 mark. Now, the big question is, will this rally continue further and onwards? Your thoughts, Shail?
Good morning, Sakshi. Hello to everyone who's watching us on this wonderfully bright Monday morning. We've started September and this week on a positive note. You'll see the weekly chart of the Nifty in front of you, and you'll notice that after maybe 5 or 6 weeks of a sustained downtrend, Sakshi, we've seen a first weekly green candle, and this is in sync with a lot of things. One, it's the fresh month, which is September. Two, it's also the beginning of the festival season. We've seen Rakhi, Janmashtami is on its way, and therefore demand will most likely pick up for all commodities and aspirational things in life. This is the daily chart. If possible, let's start with the weekly chart, and the weekly chart has shown a very nice support at the 8-week exponential moving average, Sakshi. So two things I want to point out, that the daily trend perhaps, and this is again perhaps, has likely shifted to neutral mode from negative mode for two main indices, which is the Nifty and the Bank Nifty. So that's a big plus. And let's now focus on the daily chart of the Nifty, which, as you will see, has taken support on the 50 EMA. It did a lot of bouncing around all of August, and as of Friday you saw an engulfing green candle, which is a bullish sign, Sakshi. So for about 2-3 weeks the Nifty went sideways from a low of 250 to high of 450, but yesterday, which is Friday, two dramatic things happened. There was a very sharp bounce back, and the Nifty trading range expanded from a low of 19,255 to an intraday high of 19,458. That's a 200-point range. And if we can shift to the 15-minute weekly candle, Sakshi, you'll see something really exciting. I have purposely sent this as a 2-day chart, which is the 15-minute movement on Friday and the 15-minute movement of the Nifty over Thursday, and you'll notice something fantastic, which is that the resistance that the Nifty encountered on Friday was the highest level that you had seen on Thursday. So let's hope that the Nifty is able to overcome that in today's session, and then 19,500 becomes the support as far as the index is concerned on the technical charts. And what has happened also is that the options trading range has moved upwards. You see the 15-minute chart now, a perfect W pattern in front of you, and the high of Friday was also the high of Thursday, which meant that bulls felt that enough was enough, and a 200-point uptick from the 50 DMA was enough for the first day, for the last day of the week. So the trading range has shifted higher, Sakshi. If you remember, on Thursday it was 18,800, 900 to 19,200, and then we've seen a lot of movement coming in on Friday. A lot of short covering is happening on calls between 19,200, 19,400, which means that these levels are not coming back, and they are getting supported by very sustained call writing at these levels. And the range now is 19,200 to 19,400 for the moment, as far as the options chain is concerned. 19,500 is seen as a fairly strong resistance. Let's see what happens today. And banks, ICICI and Axis are going to take it away as far as the Nifty is concerned. And of course, the energy stocks. Actually, I cannot even begin to tell you how these charts have improved. If you see the crude oil chart, it's at the highest since November 2022. That may be a negative sentiment for Dalal Street, but for all PSU energy stocks like NTPC, Coal India, ONGC, Oil India, Gas Authority, it's like a booming market, and it's borne by all F&O data. So that's the view on Nifty. The trend has changed from negative to neutral, and let's hope it continues, Sakshi.
Okay, fantastic. A lot of data points to take into account in today's trading session. Now, as far as you took the name of ICICI Bank and Axis Bank, but Nifty Bank too, which had dropped 3.6% in the month of August, the largest monthly loss since January for Nifty Bank. It also has begun the September F&O series on a positive note. It managed to claw its way back above the 44,000 mark. Your sense here now, as we inch towards the other week now on Nifty Bank?
So, Sakshi, troubling us all through August, the Bank Nifty took a fairly strong support at the 100-day exponential moving average, and on Friday it got its mojo back. It's back to its 700-day 700-point intraday trading range. The low being 43,830 and the high being 44,568. So a 770 point difference between the high and low, and that's what Bank Nifty is all about. It's back with a bang, and that's also heartening, not only for itself but also for the Nifty, because 37% of Nifty is private sector banks. So these are two good moves that are likely to come as far as the Bank Nifty is concerned. On your screen you'll shortly see the commentary for Bank Nifty, which is likely to just come up in front of you. In the month of August, as you rightly pointed out, the Bank Nifty cracked 4%, but that was after a 20% rally. So the market's taken somewhere like 22% back from Bank Nifty, but you'll see the mojo coming back, and options data again shows a lot of shorts in the system of Bank Nifty that have been covered between 43,900 to 44,300. And Sakshi, I cannot even begin to tell you how good the PSU banking charts look, especially PNB. And of course, the smaller banks on the PSU side, which is Central Bank of India, JK Bank, Indian Overseas Bank, Bank of India, a massive rally on the cards there, Bank of Maharashtra as well. So those are the stocks that will attract traders on the long side, because there is a very little likelihood of profit booking. And in terms of stocks which have futures and options, I would bet on ICICI Bank and Axis Bank, Sakshi.
Okay, got that. From the F&O space then, Shail, which are the stocks on top of your radar? Is it still going to be again the PSU names, the energy names that you've been bullish on?
Sakshi, now there is a word of caution that I'd like to put in before we begin this discussion on what's happening in the futures and options space. If you look at Friday's winners, the top 20 winners, Sakshi, of them, 13 in the F&O space were PSU stocks. So it's most likely that you are going to see a fantastic rally in September for all these counters. The breakouts have been phenomenal and breathtaking when it comes to numbers on volume and price. But a word of caution needs to be injected here, especially for investors who have not participated in this rally so far. This is clearly an overheated market. You need to be a professional trader to trade these stocks. They've shown fantastic rise, and they may continue their journey upwards simply because of value explosion that's happening. It's a 5-10 year anger that's getting exploited on the markets when it comes to overlooking these charts, these companies for a long time. But they are breathtaking charts. With this caution and with this explicit warning that you have to be very careful on what you're looking at in terms of the PSU space, whether it's energy, whether it's banking, whether it's railway, whether it's defense. All of them are looking to just break out further and further. So the stocks that I wish to highlight are in front of you, and they are of course from the PSU banking space. From the PSU space, and it's the energy theme that looking good. Let's look at BHEL. It was a breakout stock on Monday, the top gainer in the F&O space, 12% higher at its highest levels over the last 5 years, 136. Sakshi, if you remember, in the beginning of last week, one of the technical analysts had pointed out BHEL at about 112 rupees. It retraced to 104, 103, and from then on it's been a one way. So this retracement, if any, again that happens, needs to be latched on the long side. The open interest has been up a breathtaking 38%. I've never seen this kind of strong uptick in price accompanied by a surge in open interest. So at 137, BHEL is clearly one of the stocks. And what's actually also coming out, Sakshi, is NTPC and Coal India. Remember, these are energy plays, and deep undervaluation for Coal India. It is still below its IPO price somewhere of 2013. So 238.60, a decent open interest rise of 10%. And decent deliveries have increased. NTPC, we followed this stock, you marked it many times, 5% higher yesterday, 232 to 25, again moving towards the record high territory, and a 10% increase in open interest. Remember, these are very big PSU companies that are coming out of 10, 12, 15, 14 year downtrends, and therefore these rallies are likely to continue given a bit of corrections. Again, I am repeating myself ceaselessly. You have to be very cautious, very nimble, and extremely agile to trade these stocks. Sakshi.
Absolutely, and we'll continue to touch base on BHEL, NTPC and the entire PSU and energy names as we hit pre-open very soon. But let's also take stock of what the global cues are suggesting to us. US stock indices settled for a mixed close, and benchmark treasury yields also rebounded after US jobs report showed an uptick in the employment numbers. We also saw this cementing the expectations that the Federal Reserve could let interest rates stand at its September meeting. So that will be important to watch out for. Remember, the S&P 500 and the Dow ended modestly in the green, while the tech-laden Nasdaq index closed nearly unchanged on Friday's session. All the three indices, however, notched gains for the week. So that's a positive handover as far as the weekly numbers are concerned. The Asian markets also traded mostly higher in the morning trade following hopes of an interest rate hike pause in the US, and also the investors are now looking ahead to key economic data coming in from China and from Australia later this week. So you do have the Nikkei, you do have all the Asian markets, most of them trading higher in trade right now, be it Kospi, Hang Seng, all of these stock market indices are indicating to a positive start. And with that, we also have the Gift Nifty indicating to a positive start. Now, as far as the foreign flows are concerned, remember the foreign portfolio investment in the Indian stock markets hit a 4-month low in the month of August, slowing down the pace of inflow to just about 12,262 odd crore rupees in August. On Friday, however, the FIS2 had bought shares worth about 487 odd crore rupees, while the domestic institutional investors purchased 2294 crore rupees worth of stocks. That's on September 1st. But like Shail pointed out, the bigger global factor to track now is Brent crude, which is up for the fourth day and now is nearing the $90 a barrel. It has already crossed the $89 a barrel mark. It's now nearing a 9-month high as well. So that will be very, very important to track. Shail, like you pointed out, it may augur well for some of the energy names, but for a larger economic point of view, this would be another important factor that could now feature in the RBI's commentary also going forward from here, and therefore an overhang on the inflation, even as we are seeing some kind of breather coming in on the fruit and the vegetable prices. How are you looking at this monitorable?
So, Sakshi, without doubt, crude oil at November 2022 highs is a pain as far as Indian economy is concerned because of its direct impact on inflation. Nevertheless, given the bad pair of cards being dealt to India, let's look at the positives. Let's focus on ONGC, let's focus on Oil India, let's focus on our energy basket in terms of stocks in particular, and then ride this crude oil trend. My understanding is that the vegetable prices that were higher over the last 2 or 3 months because of a patchy monsoon and of course intense floods in some parts of the country are a thing of the past. We are getting tomato chutney made today. Tomatoes are back at 14 rupees a kilo. So what goes up comes down. The overall impact on the inflation basket, Sakshi, will be balanced by weaker vegetable prices and of course, as you rightly mentioned, rising crude oil. But rising crude oil, given the fantastic rally that we've seen in PSU stocks, I would look at ONGC. It's been a massive breakout on ONGC on Friday. It's the highest since March of 2022. So you look at it this way, an 18-month high on ONGC, and of course Oil India. These are PSUs that barely come back to our minds. I would look at that on the long side. 273 on Oil India and ONGC at about 181 in front of you. So these are the two things that I look at. I am intensely wired to look at the positives in life, especially when it comes to markets, Sakshi. So that's about it.
Okay, let's also keep an eye out on all the stocks that you need to watch out for in trade today. Kotak Mahindra Bank, of course, that will be in focus because over the weekend we saw Uday Kotak resigning as the MD and CEO with immediate effect. His term was to end on December 31st, but 4 months ahead of schedule. So that stock might react to the news. Apart from this, you have Jio Financial Services. Remember, the circuit filter has got revised to 20% from 5%, and the stock will be removed from the T2D segment again. So Jio Financials will also be in focus. Remember, it's already out of the Sensex but still on the Nifty. IDFC First Bank. Now Rajiv Jain's GQG Partners has bought 2.6% stake in the lending company via the block deals on Friday. The share was down at 93 odd levels, but we'll keep an eye out on that as the fresh investments may give further positive cues. GMR Power. Its arm, GMR Smart Electricity Distribution, has now received an LOA worth 5,123 odd crore rupees from Purvanchal Vidyut Nigam, and the share was already up by 15 odd % on Friday's session at about 28 rupees odd or so. We'll see if the news flow can further lead to the momentum. Oil and gas prices, and oil and gas stocks, like Shail pointed out, will be in focus. And there's another reason for this. And the reason is that government has now cut the windfall tax on crude petroleum from 7,100 rupees per ton to 6,700 rupees per ton. And on the other side, the special additional excise duty on diesel has been increased to 6 rupees from 5.5 rupees per litre. And on ATF also, it's been increased from 2 rupees to 4 rupees now. Remember, ONGC was already up 4% on Friday's session at 181. We'll keep an eye out on that. And Reliance Industries and other OMCs will also be in focus amidst this news flow. Biocon is in focus again. as the company has acquired Ava Pharma's oral solid dosage manufacturing facility in New Jersey for $7.7 million. The share was just marginally up on Friday, about 0.5% at 260 odd levels. We'll keep an eye out on this one too. Lemon Tree Hotels, another hotel stock that will be in focus today, apart from the rally that we witnessed last week on most of the counters in this space. The company has now signed a license agreement for an 80 room property in Dehradun, Uttarakhand, and the hotel is expected to be operational by Q4 or Q3 of financial year 2025. The share was marginally down on Friday, about 1% or so at 108, but now we may see an uptick coming in with this news flow coming in too. Maharashtra Seamless, another stock that you should watch out for. It's got an order of 157 odd crore rupees from Oil India and Indian Oil Corporation for the supply of seamless pipes. The share was already up 3.5% on Friday at 557. We'll keep an eye out on this one too in today's trading space again. Shail?
Yes, Sakshi. So these are news-driven stocks, and the more order flow that you get in, the better the charts keep on looking. This is a Goldilocks rally for all those stocks that were, ignored by the market over the last 2-3 years. So you see Lemon Tree Hotels coming back to a record high. Maharashtra Seamless in any case is a very high beta counter. So these are the ones that traders will focus on. Sakshi, actually the thing is, whatever you buy is rallying, and somehow traders and newer investors are thinking that they've mastered the art of stock picking and trading. Nothing could be further away from reality when it comes to this kind of a understanding. So again, at the sake of repeating myself, please be very, very cautious, especially on any and every PSU stock that you're trying to take a fresh position intraday on the long side. This is extremely, extremely overrated. Sakshi, the RSIs, anything that you watch on the technical charts is pointing intensely to an overbought market, but the market can remain irrational more than you can become solvent. So this is not an area to go short. This is just time for being very cautious. We are waiting for Devan Bhai to join us. He has seen more markets than what I can even dream of. So his views will matter a lot. But one has to be, Sakshi, very, 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 very careful. The kind of problems that we saw on the option side when people started making a lot of losses just might visit us on the mid cap, small cap spice, especially in the PSU basket. Sakshi, again I say it's a point to be very, very cautious. Devan Bhai with us. Without further ado, Devan Choksi, Managing Director at DR Choksi FinServe. Good morning, Devan Bhai. What a wonderful, wonderful time to be on the Lal Street. What do you think is the sentiment?
Yeah, good morning, Shail. Good morning, Sakshi. Well, I think you're right, absolutely. I think the amount of people joining into the party, amazing. And it normally happens. I think generally we have been studying this market for last so many years. Generally it happens that I think when the market has to get into the peak mode, I think the earlier 3 or 4 quarters are the quarters I think are to be watched about. And this is where exactly I believe that I think this particular period is playing out. You have on one side the election coming up in 2024, and on other side a lot of money is also getting into the system. Because of I think the amount of money coming into the system, people want to buy into some of the themes which are making the bigger story. And as a result of which, I think we are seeing the larger participation. Generally, when we have carried out, I think this kind of study, we call it 8-year cycle. In the 8-year cycle, the last 2 years of the cycle are the ones in which some I'm sorry about the bad throat. The last 2 years of the cycle are the cycle period in which I think the market starts picking out, and I think that is where probably are going to see an interesting time. I wouldn't like to, I think, call anything else, but maybe I would think that some of the small cap, mid cap stocks, which have absolutely not performed in the previous period, will now start performing in this particular 3 or 4 quarters period. And you will see some unrealistic prices, I think a stretch prices, as you may want to call it, as likely to happen in this 3 or 4 quarters period from now. And thereafter, whatever will be the situation, the market will slip into some correction. So I would rather like to trade cautiously, and to the investors also, I would always say that I think trade cautiously. You have to go with the fundamental strength of the company. The market is looking absolutely convincing, but at the same time, I think to the fundamental strength of the company, you have to play with. Some of the non-merit oriented stocks, I think they start performing relatively better compared to the fundamentally strong stocks. And that will lure you into this particular trap. But you have to be extremely careful about, I think, the possibilities going forward. So I think the recommendation would be to stay with, I think, the investments where I think you have the fundamental conviction, and not get into the mad rush to put money into the market, into those stocks, I think, where you have relatively weak business model and stretch valuations.
Um, Devin sir, we hope that you take care of the throat and have some warm water as well. But you know, we do have to understand from you, and that's what the markets are looking at. We need to know what exactly is to be done. You know, I'll begin by understanding from you. We've seen a euphoric rally come in several pockets of the markets of late: defense, railways, PSUs. What would you add to the list now?
Well, I think the railways, PSUs, defense, each one of them have some of the greater business models to talk about. Some of the companies have indeed got, I think, some of the very, very strong business models to talk about. However, I think the fundamental check remains here. Railway companies, the main customer is the government of India and the railway companies. So you obviously do not get an opportunity to, I think, get the pricing power. Even though I think in a given situation, the government would be loading these companies with significantly large amount of orders which they have not experienced in previous period. So that is one thing which is definitely understood. But the pricing power is not in your favor. And I think that is where you are likely to remain always on an edge. So if as an investor, if you ended up paying a higher valuation to the company, you might have a longer waiting period. That is a given reality. That is where I think one you have to be watchful about. Similar argument holds true for the defense companies. Undoubtedly, you have got a significantly large amount of order book opening up, and most of the companies, I think, have got a good amount of visibility. At the same time, the sustainability of this particular visibility is being guaranteed because of the government resorting to buy the defense products from the Indian companies. So, from that perspective, the business condition remains absolutely conducive and favorable. Again, the same argument that the margins will have to be checked, because if the margins are not going to expand, and at the same time, if you are going
Right.
to expand the valuation, then probably I think you will come into the trap. In my viewpoint, I think this is a period where I think you will have to be
Right.
selective. I'm not saying you will have to buy general, but you have to be selective. And similar argument holds true for PSU companies. PSU
Right.
companies have always remained, I think, in a very strong hold. And at the same time, I think these companies have greater business model, but the continuity of the business will have to be seen before paying higher valuation to any of these companies.
Right. Devin bhai, what we'll do is for about 20 seconds, we'll just pay attention to the pre-open trade and then I'll come back to you. It's a very nice beginning to Monday and of course September. 137 points higher on the Nifty, 19,571. Sakshi, all for August, we've lived to see this day and it's in front of us. Let's look at the stocks that are contributing to this fantastic move on the Nifty. Let's look at what Reliance is doing. And in front of me, you have Reliance 0.5% higher, 24.24. Let's look at HDFC Bank 1% higher, 15.92. Let's look at ICICI Bank 0.2% higher, 9.70. I want to see Infosys. That's 0.2% higher, 14.48. The good part, Sakshi, is that the entire 10 index heavyweights are in the green, and let's hope they stay this way. L&T is the top gainer, 1.6% higher, 27.50. We leave that as it is, wait for pre-open to settle, and come back to Devin bhai. Devin, where do you think is value relative value, of course, within the Nifty. We've seen a very sharp erosion on PSU Bank, on banks, which were the top losers for the month of August in the Nifty. Any value here, or is it just a bounce that you'd ignore on the main index?
So, in my viewpoint, Shail, I think two directional calls within Nifty. One is IT. I believe that I think probably IT has seen whatever the turbulent times that they had to see. They've seen this turbulent time, I think, in this calendar year up till now, maybe continuing for another quarter or so. That will be there. But as we progress, I think somewhere in the end of the calendar year and beginning of the next calendar year, or maybe second half of the financial year for us, we are likely to see the higher amount of order books coming in for most of the IT companies. Because the situation in the global market is that higher amount of computing demand is coming up due to the AI, AGI, and even I think the AR, VR, MR kind of platform implementation that they are experiencing. And as a result of it, I think most of these particular customers for IT industry in India are likely to basically revise their order book position and probably start pouring in more amount of orders somewhere in the second half of the financial year for them. So visibility for the business for IT company is likely to improve significantly in 24. And those who are basically trying to pick the value at this point of time, I think they may end up getting some of the Indian IT companies giving them return of around 20, 25, 30% in a span of around 12, 15 months from now. So that is where I think you have to be selectively picking up some of the IT companies. Similarly, I think the selective approach should be on the metals. In my viewpoint, I think given the kind of infrastructure thrust that we have been having in the country of $1.3 billion of spending in 10 years' time, and continuously government is expanding the budget for spending on the infrastructure. This year budget is 10 lakh crores. Next year it could be easily around 13, 14 lakh crore kind of a budget that they may have. So in my viewpoint, I think the metals would probably demand a very quick attention from investment perspective too, because I think the cycle would turn favorable. Fortunately, China, whatever the excess production that they did, and I think the price had to come down, they have come down. And maybe I think the higher amount of demand would probably allow the prices to stabilize. That is where I would like to take this particular two sectors in which we would take some value call in buying selective companies within the portfolio, within Nifty baskets, of course.
Devin sir, have you picked up any stocks recently that you've turned bullish on in the mid-cap space? We've seen a stunning rally on mid-cap and small caps of late. What are you more bullish on now?
Not that I think we have been picking up many new companies. We have been trying to strengthen our holdings in the existing ones which we have selected, where we see between 5 to 10 years of, I think, the visibility for those businesses. So we keep on strengthening our portfolio with some of the companies. In fact, I think a couple of companies which we have in our portfolio, one of them is basically catering to the railways and the defense segment, wherein I think they are extremely strong player on the EMS side of the business. And probably I think the business condition is so demanding that they are basically putting across higher amount of the production manufacturing capacity and the focus thereon. So we like that particular company and the business. Second, mid-cap, small-cap companies portfolio is basically into the hospitality. Again, a very unique model, generating around 30% plus kind of ROC and expanding into the space where higher amount of leisure tourism is being attracted, higher amount of spiritual tourism is being attracted. A company looks, I think, interestingly favorable from the investment perspective for next 3 to 4 years. I think where they've got the properties going on stream from the commercial point of view. So such kind of companies, I think they remain in our list of stocks. I think where we find that the business condition is conducive and their business model is now generating higher amount of revenue and better amount of profits, and the valuations are attractive.
Right. Devin bhai, the Nifty settled about 90 points higher, about 19,526, and today is going to be a day for PSUs. Just a blowout price action that we are seeing in pre-open trades. Time to be extremely cautious. This is the 7th time I've repeated myself. Welcoming Ashish Chaturmota, Executive Director and Fund Manager at JM Financial Services. Ashish, welcome to Business Today Television. What a day to have you. One of the first guys who caught the PSU banking rally via the PSU banking ETF was Ashish Chatramotha. Of course, that was many moons ago, but his chart reading skills are amazing. Ashish, without further delay, two stocks that you're looking for today.
Good morning, Shailji. Good morning, everyone on the panel. Shailji, first I'll give a disclosure that the stocks we are going to, discuss, we hold it in our Apex PMS strategy. So this is a disclosure. So we like PSU. I would say still we like PSU, but within the PSU, I think the railway is one theme which is most promising amongst the lot. And we have been talking about names like Titagar Wagon, Railtel in our last few discussions in the last 2-3 months time frame. Today we are going to discuss a stock called Rail Vikas Nigam Limited, RVNL. So again, it is this is one company we like a lot because first of all, I'll give you a technical perspective and then we'll go to a little bit about the fundamental aspect about this company. So Shailji, if you'll observe the technical chart, the stock has been garnering very strong volume activity in the last couple of weeks, and in the last trading session, that is on Friday, this stock witnessed almost 7 crore trading volume and closed at its days high level, so which clearly indicate that bulls dominated the entire positioning and carried out the position for next few trading sessions. Keeping the long term chart, which is the weekly and monthly charting frame, my sense is the stock has given a massive breakout above 132 kind of levels, and if he manages to hold this 132 levels, then my sense is this is a serious pole and flag formation on a monthly chart. Logical target of this pattern comes around 175 levels, which means the stock has a potential to give you at least 15 to 18% kind of upside from current levels. Now, looking into this company, this is a 28,000 crore market cap company with a return on equity of almost 21%, return on capital employed of almost 18%, trading at a trailing PE of 19 times. But the way we are seeing a significant order backlog for most of these companies, whether it's Railtel or RVNL, we see that we are going to see a very strong I would say sales as well as profit line growth momentum from current levels. We have already seen the railway capex hitting almost 240,000 crores, which is almost, I would say, 9 times 2014 railway budget, and that's where I think the lot of re-rating is what we are witnessing in most of these railway stocks. And I think we witnessed a very serious upmove coming into a stock like Rail 10 in last couple of days. So my sense is this rally could extend to some other players like Rail Vikas Nigam Limited in days to come. My second pick would be from IT Basket and Shailji. If you remember last week, our top calls in the entire basket was Persistent and Larsen & Toubro Technology Services. Persistent is already up 8-9% in last couple of days. So my sense is this re-rating would continue, and a stock like Larsen & Toubro Technology Services is on its forefront. This is again a 6 to 9 month kind of consolidation breakout which we are witnessing in Larsen & Toubro Technology Services. Stock has formed a very strong base around, I would say, 4,300 levels, and if he manages to hold this 4,300 levels, then my sense is the first logical target which comes on my mind is around 5,000 levels. But since this is a massive breakout on a long-term chart, my sense is ideally this 5,000 is a short to medium-term target. But in the medium to long-term, this stock is poised for a move towards 5,300 kind of trajectory. So I think the second pick would be Larsen & Toubro Technology Services.
Right. So one PSU theme from the railway basket, RVNL, and Larsen & Toubro Technology Services. Ashish bhai, we are trying to show you the graph of the Nifty Mid Cap Index 100 followed by the graph of Nifty Small Cap Index. Both of them are at a record high, and the rally is very intense. Pick any stock in the PSU basket or any mid cap, it's like handling a rocket which is on fire. Can I request you to comment based on your technical understanding of these two indices, whether this is a zone you'd advise investors to enter or stay away?
So Selji, I'll first comment on the Nifty small cap as an indices, and I think we are looking Nifty small cap 100, which is I would say quoting around 12,000, but 400 kind of trajectory. So I'll give you a data point. In 2018, this index was around 95, 9600, and right now it is 12,386, which is around I would say 24, 25% kind of upside from absolute level from 2018 to 2023 period, which basically means in a 5-year journey, this index has gone up almost 24%, which typically means 5 to 6% kind of CAGR growth or return, which an investor would have made. So logically, we believe that as a small cap or mid cap as a segment has in general given a compounding above 18% in a longer term time frame. And since this index was been consolidating for reasonably good 4 5 year journey, and in the last 6 months we have seen some serious upsurge coming into small and mid cap as a basket. This rally in a shorter term looks like a little stretched, but if you look at from a longer term perspective, I think since the typical compounding has been 18 to 19%, I think there has to be more returns to be seen in the entire basket. So yes, some cooling off here and there can happen, but I'm very sure of that is the long term or the medium term picture of Nifty small and mid cap looks very, very promising. This is the trend of even the
Right.
liquidity flows which we are witnessing even in the mutual fund industry, where a lot of shift is happening from large cap large cap mutual fund to a small and mid cap fund. So that's where a lot of liquidity flow is also chasing these names, and that's my belief that this rally should continue. This is a massive breakout after 5 6 years of consolidation. Some profit booking here and there of 3 to 4% could not be ruled out, but that would be a great opportunity to add on dips kind of opportunity can be created in both these indices of small and mid cap.
Okay. Um, Ashish sir, I wanted to
Right.
understand from you. Good morning, Sakshi this
Yes, Sakshi,
side.
go ahead.
I wanted to understand from you, since you took L&T Technologies as one of your pick, and we're now talking about the mid-cap space. We've also seen a stunning rally in the mid-cap IT basket. Stocks like Birlasoft, Coforge, Persistent Systems, they have had a massive run-up in the recent time. Do you think that this is still a time that one can take a pick in any of these counters, any one of them where you are more bullish on now?
Good morning, Sakshi. So yes, and we have been talking about this theme for reasonably good period of time, and Birla Soft has been one of our favorite. We have been talking about this name since 330 odd levels, and I think there is a serious re-rating, particularly happening in the mid cap and small cap IT, and some kind of base building is even happening at a broader level, which is your sectoral indices of Nifty IT is also showing some signs of strength. So this would fuel a lot of strength to particularly to companies in the mid cap and small cap which have been outperforming or showing a relative outperformance. Our topic in this segment had been stocks like Birlasoft, Persistent, Larsen and Toubro Infotech, and Larsen and Toubro Technology Services. We continue to like Persistent, and our upside target on Persistent we have been recommending is close to 6,000 levels. So I think there's another 7 to 8% kind of
Right, sir.
upside which could be witnessed in the stock from current levels.
Right. Let's pay attention to the opening trades. Nifty's opened gap up 72 points higher. 19,500 is now with the bulls as far as the index is concerned. It is opening with a gap up of 70 points and has already taken out the first resistance. Now let's look at stocks. HDFC Bank, the highest weightage, opened 7% higher, 1586. The rally in the PSUs is breathtaking. I have never seen this kind of a move. Let me just shift focus to where the price is moving. Let's start with RVNL. This was Ashish's pick. 5% higher, gap up 145.85. This is a record high. Let's look at MTNL, 4.5% higher, 26.50. Remember, I'm talking only about the PSU basket. NMDC, 3% higher, 134.70. These are high ticket, these are low ticket, high beta items, and they're just taking it away when it comes to pricing. I want to see what BHEL is doing. BHEL is up fairly sharply as far as I can see, 3-4% higher. Another breakout that's happening is on Bank of India, 1% higher, 88.80. Let's look at IRFC, 8% higher, 60 rupees 40 paisa, record high. These are railway stocks that are coming up. Let's look at defense, MTAR Tech, 5% higher, 28.44. The successful launch of Aditya 1 from ISRO has again added fresh flavor to MTAR Tech. Remember, it's a supplier of equipment to ISRO. Midhani, 4% higher, 428, fresh record high. BEL, fresh record high, 1.5% higher, 140. Paras BEML, fresh highs. Let's look at the PSU basket again. What are the stocks that are moving on the bank side? Steel Authority, 2.5% higher, 99.50. UCO Bank, 2.7% higher. Sakshi, I can lose my breath talking about the breathtaking rally on PSUs. Again, you have to be very careful. Any pick that you have found immediately, Ashish Bhai, apart from RVNL?
So definitely my sense is, as we mentioned about LTTS, this looks quite promising, and there is a good breakout which we have witnessed there. Then I think even in the IT space, other name which comes to my mind is Larsen and Toubro Infotech, which is LTIM, and that's where I think again a fresh breakout has happened on the weekly chart. So I think 5270 is going to be a strong support zone. And looking into the medium term chart, it looks like 5500 is on cards. So my second pick would be Larsen and Toubro Infotech.
Okay. Ashish, I'll draw your attention to one stock, and that is GMR Power. I talked about it before the pre-open hit, and that was amid the news flow that GMR Smart Electricity Distribution, its arm, has received an order worth 5,100. The stock is up 19%. Apart from this, we are also looking at a move coming in on Genus Power as well. How are you looking at these power names?
So yes, I think there's a lot of interest which is coming to this basket, and Genus Power is one stock which has been continuously showing a very strong uptrend. I think from 120 to 285 it has happened in a very short span of time, and still no signs of any weakness. So yes, we don't hold it, but from a pure technical perspective, I think if one is holding, 270 is a logical support zone, so that should be the trailing stop loss for riding this trend. Since it's in a complete, I would say, new territory. So the logical up move can extend till 320, 325 kind of trajectory.
What about Coal India? Do you track this stock, Ashish? And wanted to understand your thoughts on Coal India now, 239, 1.1% higher in trade. And, of course, it's been an uptrend from last 5 days or so.
So actually, we don't track it, individually, but yes, we track the entire CPSC index because we firmly believe the best way to play the public sector undertaking is by buying this ETF of CPSC, and which has hit a fresh all-time high in today's trading session. I think if one wants to really ride this trend, which is basically happening in defense or power space, where NTPC, Power Grid, REC, PFC all are showing very strong trajectory, and some kind of base building is happening to stocks like ONGC and coal. The logical play would be to go long into this CPSC ETF, which is at 49.779 levels. And I think this rally in this ETF could extend towards 54, 55 levels.
IRFC, that's the stock to watch out for. You clearly picked out the railway theme, and IRFC is now up 11.5% in trade today. One of the top gainers in the F&O space for sure. The top gainer in the mid-cap 100 space as well. At this point in time, Ashish, IRFC, would you still buy it after this 11.5% move today?
So we are not, holding IRFC, or we are not recommending, because it has already seen a very strong rally in last 2-3 trading sessions. Our top picks within this baskets are stocks like RailTel and RVNL. These are the two names which we have been liking. Apart from that, I think even RITES is looking quite strong, and it has been a steady mover. So I think it has completed a good consolidation between 500 to 450 trajectory, and this is a fresh breakout. So my sense is the next rally could extend in stock like RITES, which can move towards 560, 570 trajectory, and I think 510 is going to be a very strong support zone for RITES Limited.
Right. Let's pay attention to the broader market, Sakshi. The Nifty is consolidating around its first resistance, still up 65 at 19,500. Remember, 19,500 is now for the bears to defend and for the bulls to take it away from them. The Bank Nifty 123 points higher, 44,500. A broader view of the markets, all 19 indices, Sakshi, that we track are in the green. A lovely day. The advanced decline ratio in the broader markets is 1600 to 300. So it's about 5:1, actually better than 5:1. The top gaining index is Nifty Metals. The small cap index, fresh record high. No matter how much caution that we ask people to follow, there is no let up in momentum, there is no let up in buying, and there is no let up in gains. 1% higher, 12,500. The PSU banking basket 0.7% higher, 45.72. Energy basket 0.7% higher, 26,510. To gauge the sentiment, let's look at the advanced decline ratio on the NSE 500. Sakshi, 408 stocks out of 500 are in the green. That shows you how the broader markets are taking it up, and it's a blowout that's happening on the PSU basket. Let's get Ashish Bhai to comment on metal stocks. Mr. Chatramota, the top gaining index is the Nifty Metals Index, 2% higher, 69.88, and all 7 stocks in the metal space in the FNO are in the green. What would be your top pick, sir?
So this is a very strong breakout which has happened at a sectoral level, Shail Bhai, and we are witnessing this breakout to see this index moving towards 7,500 levels, and that's the case. Then the top pick within this basket would be first of all Hindalco, which is a very strong breakout on the monthly chart frame. My sense is 474 is the level where it has given a fresh breakout on the weekly charts. This rally should extend towards 530, 540 levels in Hindalco. So Hindalco would be a top pick. And apart from that, I think Tata Steel is one stock which has given a fresh breakout again on the monthly chart above I think 130, 128 levels. So I think 127 one should keep up, kind of a strong support zone. And on upside, I think 145, 150 is what I'm looking for an upward rally in a stock like Tata Steel. So I think Hindalco and Tata Steel would be my preferred bet in the middle basket.
Okay. Let's also look at some of the stocks from the metal basket, especially the PSU names that are gaining. Nalco, SAIL, NMDC, clear winners today. And of course, all of these three are moving up with sharp volumes as well. Open interest gains coming in on all of these three stocks, Nalco, SAIL and NMDC. Which of the three PSUs are you more bullish on, Ashish?
So I think NMDC is clearly looking very, very strong on charts, and this is a major inverted head and shoulder breakout which has been seen in the stock. Iron ore prices are moving up, which is again going to benefit NMDC a lot, and we have seen the demerger of the steel business, which is again going to create a lot of value for NMDC as such, and that's the reason my sense is NMDC could extend its rally towards 150, 152 kind of trajectory. This breakout on the inverted head and shoulder has happened at 128 levels. So logically, 128, 129 is going to be extremely strong support zone for NMDC Limited.
Okay. Apart from this, Ashish, also wanted to draw your attention to the oil and gas basket as well. We've already discussed coal, but GAIL, IOC, ONGC, Petronet, all of them are buzzing in action today. Any of the stocks from the oil and gas space that looks promising to you at this point in time? Is ONGC, with the stunning rally that has shown in the last few trading sessions, still a buy for you?
So I think, Sakshi, this rally has happened in a shorter term time frame, but if you look at the overall behavior of these companies, it has been very erratic or very, very volatile. So that's the reason we particularly avoid oil marketing companies as such.
Okay, and ONGC too?
Yeah, ONGC too, because generally we have seen that when the crude oil prices move up, typically these companies don't end up making a lot of money because we see some kind of windfall tax or or kind of taxation, which eventually erodes the profit. So we don't see a big benefit coming to ONGC, even if crude goes up. Yes, there could be a tactical play where the stock can do another 4-5%, but that's little risky, and that's the reason we typically avoid these names.
Okay. Got that. Okay, Ashish, I'll draw your attention to the PSU banking space now. We've seen a massive move on some of these smaller PSU banks like Bank of Maharashtra. It's again up by 3% odd today. Today, UCO Bank is the top gainer. Apart from this, Central Bank of India, Indian Overseas Bank, all of them are up 2.5%, 3% odd. From the PSU banking basket, is there any stock that you're tracking at the current levels? Most of them, these are, very, very affordable, small ticket prices, so very attractive at these levels too.
So generally, Sakshi, we avoid the smaller ticket names, but typically we like PSU banks as a theme, and that's the reason we have been bullish on stocks like SBI, Canara Bank, Bank of Baroda, Union Bank. So this basket definitely we like, but yes, as you rightly mentioned, there's a lot of interest in the smaller ticket PSU banks like Bank of Maharashtra, UCO Bank, and all. Within that, I think what looks little promising is the Bank of Maharashtra, and that's where I think some rally has already been extended, but this could continue. Stock has a very strong support around 37 levels, and I think this rally could extend towards 45 to 47 kind of trajectory in next couple of weeks. So I think another 15% to 18% kind of upside could be witnessed in a stock like Bank of Maharashtra.
Okay, Ashish, tell us, what are you making of the entire cement pack? Stocks like India Cement showed a very strong move on Friday, 9% higher. Most of these names are also springing up. Even in the F&O basket, Shree Cement is one of the top gainers, but however, it is at a higher ticket price. Ultratech Cement is also up in trade. But any of the cement names that you're tracking, maybe Dalmia Bharat, India Cement?
So we have been liking two names and holding in our portfolios also. The first one obviously is Ultratech Cement because of the capacity this company has been creating, and this stock has been a very steady in terms of its performance, in terms of financials, in terms of pricing behavior. So all put together, my sense is Ultratech Cement is heading towards 88, 8900 kind of trajectory. The second name is Dalmia Bharat, and I think that is one stock which has formed a very strong base around 2250 zone, and since this breakout has happened, I think this rally could extend towards 2350 to 2400 levels. So there is another, I would say, 8 to 9% kind of upside which could be witnessed in stock like Dalmia Bharat. So these are the two names which we like within the cement basket.
Right. Let's pay attention to the broader markets, Sakshi, and it's the sugar pack which is now adding much needed sweetness to this market. Let's look at Balrampur Chini, fresh intraday high at about 405.65. I see a lot of block deals happening. 44 plus 13 plus 14 plus 23 will make it somewhere like 95,000 shares transacted at 404, 405. So this is one stock that you need to look at. As also a lot of activity happening in Coal India, you had marked that 241.10 that I see. It's a crisis of plenty, Sakshi. Steel Authority is back above the 100 mark. Actually, let's watch the long-term chart of Steel Authority, and this should be interesting. This is actually a multi-year, multi-month high. The last time you saw this was in April 2022. So that's 6 plus 12, an 18-month high on Steel Authority. It's just running up. Ashish's RVNL, very strong breakout, 146.80. That's what we are marking. What else is on the move? IRFC, 63.50. Let me just mark new highs in the market, Sakshi. This is something critical that our viewers need to see. New highs, low ticket and high beta. We've started with IRFC. Let's look at IDFC First Bank, 95.50, 2.5% higher. Let's look at BEL, 140.65. Remember, this is a defense theme, and BEL is also up 1.2%. We've discussed RVNL, let's avoid that. Of course, Indian hotels, this is one of the top favorites of Ashish, at about 421.55, up down a bit. Rights, something that Ashish marked 528. These are all record highs. And of course, TVS Motors, M&M, 1454 and 1593. I'm purposely not marking high ticket items. There are so many, Sakshi, that it's difficult. Of course, Maruti. We'll have to take Ashish's view, 10,433. Ashish, a very, very rare event happened on Corporate India last week. Maruti announced a capacity expansion plan of 45,000 crore rupees, doubling its capacity in 8 years. Your view on Maruti, now in 5 digits, firmly above 10,000.
So we have been very constructive about Maruti, Shalbhai, and we believe that this is going to be a very, very strong, outperformance which Maruti is going to witness against the broader market, as well as the sector of Nifty Auto. And my sense is this is again a 6-year kind of consolidation breakout which we have witnessed. Last time 2017 we saw Maruti hitting 99.50. After that it took almost 6 years for stock to recross this levels of 99.50, and logically this consolidation could eventually extend its rally towards 11,500 to 12,000 levels. Now coming to the fundamental perspective, you already mentioned companies doubling its capacity. They are market leader in the CNG space. They have been launching a lot of vehicles on the SUV segment, and this is going to see a lot of market share again. This company is going to witness, because this company has lost almost 800 to 900 basis point market share in the last couple of years. But I think with this kind of launches, with new capacity expansion, we are going to see this market share gain which is going to come. So this is a serious re-rating which we are going to witness in Maruti, and that is getting reflected into the price behavior.
Okay. Ashish, what about Bharat Forge? That stock has definitely been a top mover on a year-to-date basis, 23% higher, in fact 31% higher in the past 6 months. Very, very strong move. 1,086 for Bharat Forge. Today also it's buzzing in trade, about 0.7% higher. Your thoughts on this stock? Is it still a buy?
We don't hold this stock, but yes, we are tracking it, and we believe that this is a play again on the defense segment. Although the contribution is not meaningful at this point of time, but the way this company has been working on its defense segment, it looks like there is going to be a lot of order flow which the company is going to witness. So otherwise, I think if you look at the US business is not doing that great, but because of the defense there is a serious re-rating which is happening, and that's the reason we believe this rally could extend towards 1150 1200 kind of trajectory in the immediate short term, because we are seeing a lot of traction in the entire defense theme. There's a breakout which has happened on a daily and weekly chart, and now I think 1050 is an area where a lot of base building has happened into the stock.
Okay, Ashish, I was discussing with you the PSU banking space. I'll draw your attention to IDBI Bank now, 7.3% higher in trade. And, of course, there's news flow. I talked about it in the stocks to watch list. The government has now invited bids to appoint an asset valuer for strategic disinvestment. The stock was just up 0.5% on Friday, but today the rally is extended further. Your thoughts on this one?
So my sense is, today it has happened with a very strong volumes in the morning itself, and now I think this big, gap up opening level is going to be a support zone. So around 62.50, 63, we are going to witness a lot of support coming to IDBI. But this move can extend towards 69.70 kind of trajectory.
Shail?
Yes, Sakshi. So a couple of stocks that I'd like to mark. My throat is sore talking about caution, but nobody's paying attention, which is fine. Sakshi, the PSU basket is what needs to be watched. I have 72 PSUs in front of me. Only 3 are down. Can you believe it? The losses. Power Grid down 0.22, State Bank of India flat, and RECL flat. The rest 73 PSUs are deep in the green, and so many of them in the railway pack are at record highs. IRFC, RVNL, and so on and so forth. It's a blowout that's happening, and amongst the very few people who caught this rally was Ashish Chaturmota, and he did mention, if you remember, by the PSU banking ETF, by the PSU CPSE ETF, people have made double-digit percentage point returns from in those baskets over the last 2.5 months. Getting Ashish on the screen, fantastic call, Ashish. That's the reason why we have you so many times in the month. I wish you would come daily, but I know that's a bit difficult. Today's pick was RVNL, an absolute blowout that's happening. Ashish, how do you, sort of pick up these winners? What makes you so confident that a blowout that's happened on price and volume on a particular day will be followed definitely by another rally the next day? I'm specifically talking about RVNL, I'm specifically talking about RITES, RailTel. All of them blew out on Friday. A person like me would be very cautious, but a person like you is extremely bullish. Maybe it's the age difference.
So Shail bhai, we, as you know, we do combination of both fundamentals along with technicals, and the one big fundamental which is behind all this, massive uptick which is happening in the sector is the significant amount of capex which has been announced. And what we are witnessing this time different than the last history is that execution of this capex which has been announced. So if you see in most of the cases in the last 6-7 months itself, we have seen 40 to 50% deployment of the capex which has been announced, whether it's the capex budget of government where this mention about 10 lakh crore kind of capex they are going to witness, or the railway capex where we have mentioned about 2,40,000 crore. You look at the order book momentum of most of these companies in the last 3 months time frame, and you'll be surprised with the new order book these companies have been witnessing. Then we look into the longer term chart frame, and in that case volume plays a very, very important role. And in case of RVNL, as we mentioned, this stock saw a volume of almost 7 crore 8 crore kind of volume activity on Friday's trading session, and on that day also the stock closed at its highest level. That gives us a lot of confirmation that at a new high territory, lot of strong volume activity is happening, and this is getting carried over to the next day's trade, and that gives us confirmation that some serious ends are holding and creating accumulation into the stock.
Okay. So definitely RVNL clearly we can mark as the superhero of the day. Fantastic pick right there, Ashish. Still going higher, 8.5% uptick for this one, and going strong currently. And I'm sure the stock is likely to hold on to these gains, maybe even higher. And we'll continue to track the stock through the trading session, through our other Market Today shows also for you. So RVNL clearly the superhero of the day from our guest today. Sugar space is something, Shail, that you were mentioning, and now there is news flow. There are reports that suggest that the state advised price in Uttarakhand for sugar cane might be increased by 25 rupees per quintal for financial year 2024, and that is something that is leading to this move on those sugar space stocks again. So Balrampur Chini is up by 0.8% at 399, and all the other sugar space stocks are buzzing in action. Ashish, any sugar space stock that you'd like to highlight? All right, I think we've lost his connection, but 265 for Dhampur Sugar again, 3.07% higher. Let's pull up all of them. Sri Renuka Sugar, Dalmia Bharat Sugar as well, and all of these sugar space stocks that are moving up in trades. Balrampur Chini clearly up by about 1%. Sri Renuka 5% higher, 49.6. Very strong move coming in on this one as well. The other space, Shail, that's interesting is also the paper stocks as well. Remember, one of our guests had been suggesting that paper stocks is something that we should watch out for. Today, Orient paper is also up by 5 odd percent. Apart from all the other stocks are just like up about 1% odd or so, but Orient paper is something that is really buzzing in action again in trade today. So let's look at that one. It's 3.5% higher at 51.1. So these smaller pockets, Shell, how are you looking at these sub-sector rallies that take place, and how should investors be really agile enough to catch this momentum?
So Sakshi, Orient paper was the top pick of Mayuresh Joshi when he joined us a week ago, and it's working out fantastically. चीनी की मृदुल मिठास आपको बाज़ार की इस तेज़ी की धड़कन में मिलती हुई दिखेगी, और वहाँ पर आप बहुत बढ़िया मोमेंटम देख रही हैं. रेणुका शुगर्स 5% हायर. Across the board, this thing has moved up. And Sakshi, we have the general election coming up in May 2024. It is still about 9 months away, but all moves that you see from the government are aimed at the electorate. Last week you saw the housewives being pampered, a cut in LPG rates. This week it's for farmers, where the sugar SAP price is rising. So you'll see a series of announcements coming in from the government, especially the central government and the state governments ruled by the BJP, where these kind of moves will happen, and they'll help of course the broader markets as also specific pockets. Dhampur up 3.5%, 266, Balrampur in the green. Triveni sugars going away towards the green side, and of course you picked up Renuka 50. It's a monthly high, it's a weekly breakout. Let's just see this chart, because Renuka is a very high beta counter as far as the sugar space is concerned, and it's actually taken out its 200 DMA, and the price that you see is the highest since February of 2023. Price and volume breakout. The volume for today has already exceeded that of Friday, and we haven't even completed half an hour of trade. So this is what you need to watch as far as markets are concerned, and a very strong rally coming in. I am repeating, high beta, low ticket. That's where the action is. SGVN fresh record high 66.60. BEL fresh record high 142. The kind of block deals that I see on my software, Sakshi, are to be seen to be believed. Sakshi.
Absolutely, a very strong momentum and a great market space to be in. And it's not just the action in the secondary market, but also the primary market space that is yet to give a lot of opportunities for all the investors to keep an eye out on. Let's shift focus to our corporate radar now, and the company on our focused list today is Jupiter Lifeline Hospitals. The IPO will open on September 6, close on September 8. Jupiter Lifeline Hospitals is a multi-speciality tertiary and quaternary healthcare provider in the Mumbai metropolitan region and the western region of India, and the company's management is here with us. Dr. Ankit Thakkar, the Chief Executive Officer of Jupiter Lifeline Hospitals, is here with us. Very good morning to you, Mr. Thakkar, and thank you so much for taking the time out for this discussion on Business Today TV. I'm Sakshi, and with me is my colleague Shail Bhatnagar as well. Let me kickstart by understanding from you. There is the total issue size that you're coming out with is 869 odd crore rupees. And of course, the ticket price, the IPO price is 695 to 735 rupees per share. This is for all the benefit of all our viewers. And the fresh issue of this space will be 542 crores, while the OFS will fetch you 327 odd crore rupees. List out for us the key objective of launching your IPO, and what are you planning to do with the proceeds that you raise in the fresh equity?
So the 542 crores that we raise, about 500 odd crores will be used for debt repayment. Post IPO, we will become completely debt free. and the balance portion we will keep it for general corporate purposes.
Okay. And also, so you're saying you will be debt free. What will be the saving on interest costs then after you turn debt free after the IPO?
So we are borrowing at 9 odd percent currently. So the interest cost of 500 odd crores should be in the range of 45-50 crores. So we will save that interest, and of course the principal repayment will also become free cash available to the company.
Okay.
Right. Dr. Thakkar, welcome to Business Today Television, and we hope that your IPO is a fantastic success. Please share with us the following details. What is the existing hospital bed strength? How much of fresh capacity will you add from the IPO proceeds? And what is the capacity utilization at the current level, sir?
So we are currently operating 3 hospitals, one in Thane in the Mumbai region, second in Pune, and the third in Indore. Collectively, they are planned for close to 1,200 beds, out of which 1,000 are already operational. So we have a brownfield capacity for 200 more beds pending. Besides this, we have just commissioned one more project in the MMR region in Dombivli, where we are building 500 beds. So we have bought the land, got all government permissions, and started construction. So this is on the horizon already.
Okay. Sir, could you mention by when will the operations begin? Commence, and by when do you see, and how much revenue contribution do you see from this facility of yours?
So we have just started constructing. It's a 500 bed facility. We should take anything between 2 and 3 years to finish construction and start operations. As far as revenue contribution is concerned, our thought process is that we like to build only flagship or hub hospitals, and we like to scale them, size them, and scope them in similar fashions. So eventually, our thought is that all the hospitals will perform at similar levels. So the new hospital in Dombivli will also perform at similar levels as the Thane hospital or any other hospital.
All right. Dr. Thakkar, could you also list out for us, further that away from the western region, are you looking at any other geographical expansion as well going forward, maybe via organic or inorganic route as well, because large part of your concentration is in the metropolitan region of Mumbai and the western region right now?
Correct. No, so if you look at the corporate, the organized healthcare landscape, you will see that there's a lot of white space and vacuum in the West. Our thought is that at least for the current phase of growth, we would like to remain completely West focused and chart our expansion in the Western India and cement on our existing strength there. We generally prefer the organic way of growth, because we believe that it gives us complete autonomy in terms of selection of location, designing of facilities, quality of infrastructure, and it just plays out much better in the longer term.
Okay. Dr. Thakkar, also wanted to understand from you your current occupancy levels and the average revenue per occupied bed, and what is the visibility going forward, maybe for FY24, FY25, if you can tell us.
So the most matured hospital that we have is in Thane, which is has an occupancy of above 70%. Pune was in the high 60%, and we have just added some more bed capacity there. Indore is just getting started. It's a couple of years old, so it's doing a 40 odd percent occupancy now, but we are seeing healthy growth and utilization in that facility as well. So we believe that both Pune and Indore should have significant growth contributions over the next 2 years till the time Dombivli starts operating and then starts contributing as well.
Dr. Thakkar, in terms of specialization, does Jupiter Health have a particular theme that is there? I mean, for instance, there are hospitals that take only eye care. There are hospitals who specialize in renal care. Some specialize in treating cancer. How about Jupiter?
Yes, we do all of that and more. So our thought is that we like to build truly comprehensive multi-specialty hospitals. We do everything from childbirth to organ transplants, liver, heart transplants, cancer, radiation, and everything in the middle. Uh, so we don't really narrow down our focus on one, two, or few branches. We think that in order to excel in any branch of medicine, you need to also excel in all other branches of medicine. So we have a global focus in terms of specialties.
Okay.
Right. Dr. Saab, would you personally hold a stake in Jupiter Life Science Hospitals?
Yes, yes, of course.
Yes. And how much of offer of sale is coming from your side, or do you retain it completely?
Zero. Yeah, from the promoters, there is not a single share being sold. So there is zero offer for sale from the promoters. So I'm not selling a single share.
Okay. Dr. Thakkar, as a key challenge, do you believe that talent management is one of the key challenges for you at this current space, and retaining, doctors and nurses is one of the challenges that you're facing right now? How do you plan to mitigate it, if at all it is a challenge?
Honestly, this is one thing which we are most proud about, that we have been able to create a culture and replicate it in all the units of extreme stickiness of our people. So as far as doctors go, we have a very, very low attrition, close to 0% attrition of doctors. And we have not fortunately, faced this challenge of attrition or talent retention on the doctor side. And that is something which gives us a lot of happiness. It also allows us to, have continuity of care, better clinical outcomes and stability of team.
Sir, you were talking to us about RPOB, that's the average revenue per occupied bed. If we compare it with the peers, it's slightly on the lower side. Your thoughts here on how do you plan to increase it?
So the Thane hospital had 56 odd thousand of RPOB, Pune around 50. Both those RPOBs, in our view, for the current situation, are quite satisfactory in our mind. Indore is, kind of having some dilutive effect on the consolidated RPOBs, and that is because it is a relatively new property, and it will take, some more time to achieve optimal level of case mix utilization. So once that kicks in, I think even at a consolidated level, we should have respectable numbers.
Right. Dr. Thakkar, thank you so much for sharing such details about Jupiter Lifeline, and we wish you all the luck. Sakshi mentioned how would you raise average revenue per bed. That's a very dangerous thing as far as patients are concerned, but for shareholders, I'm sure that's music to their ears. All the luck to you as far as the listing is concerned, and we hope to welcome another hospital chain in our listed universe 1 week from now, and we hope that it does the best it can. Thank you so much for your time, and should you be in Delhi, you're welcome to our studios. We'll discuss how average revenue per occupied bed, ARPOB, one of the major benchmarks for hospitals, is going to increase at Jupiter Line. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
All right, let's get back to the market, Shail.
Back to market, Sakshi.
Yeah. So the Nifty is holding up.
I can't take my eyes off RVNL.
Yes, absolutely. That's what I was about to say, but Shail, all yours.
So I can't take my eyes off RVNL. It's showing a volume number of 6 crores 58 lakh shares, fresh record high. Remember, we are in the first 45 minutes of trade, and already yesterday's volume has been taken out. So a record high, a price breakout, and a volume breakout just about to happen as far as this particular stock is concerned. Sakshi's made it the superhero of the day. In terms of volume buzzers, I'd also like to focus on IRFC, 65.7, 17.5% higher. Already the 20 crore shares that you see traded on IRFC are 2.6 times the 5-day average. So with Sakshi's permission, I'll also christen IRFC as the superhero of the day. So you have Batman and Superman from the railway pack taking the baton on a fantastic up move, both of them at record highs, IRFC and RVNL. Fantastic day for us, Sakshi. The sentiment on Nifty is holding on, 19,488, still up 52. A bit of a flat move on Bank Nifty, 44,553, 97 points higher. IT is taking a rest, which is fine, not a problem. And of course, like I mentioned in the morning, forget today, forget this week. September will be a month for PSUs, and it's been a blowout. No matter how much caution I advise, the market is not listening. But these are the characteristics of a hyper bull market, Sakshi.
Absolutely. Hyper bull market, a great phrase there, Shail, and thank you so much for being with us. In the metal space, let's not lose sight of that too, apart from the railways. It's the metal space that's buzzing in trade. We mentioned to you Nalco. You also have a whole host of other NMDCs up in trade. SAIL, we mentioned. The Nifty Metal clearly as the top gaining index, 2.5% higher, continues its strong move from the week before. And you can see stocks like Nalco moving 7% higher in trade, 5% up for SAIL. That's up over 100 odd levels now. So brilliant move coming in on that one as well. So mid caps, small caps, some of the smaller pockets here to stay and give you enough and more opportunities for you to trade. Many thanks for tuning into this special edition. And we'll continue to track the market movement for you. 52 points higher right now for the Nifty, 19,487. Do stay tuned on to Business Today TV. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and also continue to engage with us on our other social media platforms as well. Until then, many thanks for tuning in.
A platform for global allies and rivals to meet. But speculations run rife over China President Xi Jinping's participation at the G20 scheduled in New Delhi. A Reuters report attributed to unnamed official sources suggests he is likely to skip the summit of the world's major economies happening in the Indian capital on September 9th and 10th. A Chinese foreign ministry spokesman had nothing to offer immediately when asked in Beijing about